Right. Please let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see it. Very
Ah,
clean and clear.
fantastic. Thank you very much. Okay, so today I'll start by introducing myself. My name is Apollo Adeyemi, right? I'm a product manager and I work with Blue Chip Technology, right? Today we will be discussing the business model canvas as a technique, a Babok aligned technique, right? And before I go into it at all, I first of all want to plead with all of us. It's going to be very interactive. It's going to be very realistic and very practical. So I want everyone to just, contribute as much as. Before I go into I'd like to ask everyone on this group today, on this study group, tell me one thing you know about the business model Canva. Just one thing, anything at all. Just tell me one thing you know about it. Should I start calling names? Please don't put it on the chat. I won't be able to see it. So please just try and just say one thing you know about it. I need that we do. Hear me clearly? Hello? Hello? All right. I think I have to.
Hello, we can hear you.
Hello? Please confirm if you can hear me now. I need someone to confirm if you can hear me clearly.
We can hear
Yes,
you.
we are audible.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I don't know if you got that part where I said today, before we start the class, I would like that everyone please just tell me one thing you know about the business model. Everyone, whatever you know, small, big, anything at all. Let's just discuss it at large before we go into discussion. I can see chats. Please do me a favor. I don't know. Okay. I don't know how businesses create value. Fantastic. Okay. Any other person? Can we have someone else just tell us what you know? Christy has given us one. I want it to be a very, very, you know, open class, relaxed class. And I want us to talk
Okay.
about it. Thank you.
It's a tool used to describe, design, and probably analyze how a business works.
Right. Okay. Have you used this before, Abigail? Have you at any point used this before?
No, I've not.
Okay. Thank you very much, Abigail. Any other person? Right. Okay, I'll write on those two responses. Krista says it's a business, it helps to describe how businesses create their value. And Abigail said is a tool that helps to describe how business deliver value. They're both right. But you see, this is a very powerful tool that I have noticed in the professional space that's not being used as much as. And I don't know, maybe it's a bias that it's a quite complex one. I mean, I've seen many people use a business case, in projects of different kinds. But for the BMC, I see only elements of it, maybe just a value proposition Canva. I've not seen people use it in full. So today we'll try and break it down and understand the very detail and how we can use it. It's very simple and it's a very powerful tool. So we're going into it right away. What is, oh, forgive me, I think I showed 1 minute here. So, like I said, the learning objectives under today's discussion will be, we're going to apply the business model Canva as a BABOK technique. And we're going to describe how an enterprise, as an organization, creates, delivers, and captures value for and from the customers. Please note that it's a tool that works both ways. It works for the organization to capture value from the customer and also deliver value to the customer. Secondly, we will identify and interpret the 9 building blocks of the business model. Thirdly, today we will use the Canva to analyze current state, future state, dependencies, and strategic fits using a particular business case. So we'll practically use this Canva to analyze it together, and we'll be able to carry out all what we've said to see how we create value to customer, deliver it to customer, and how we also get value back from them, right? So fourthly, we'll facilitate stakeholder conversations under relatable business scenarios, right? And also we'll differentiate between the business model Canva and the business case and apply both appropriately, all right? Today we will not be answering some CPAP related questions, so we'll be stopping just on the differentiations. Okay, so having said that, let's get to it. What is the business model? The business model Canva is a strategic visual framework, meaning it's more like a picture. It's visual, you can see it, right? That describes how an organization creates value for its customer, how it delivers that value. I particularly chose this definition because it breaks it down, and I want you to follow the way we drill down in this description. So a BMC is a strategic visual framework that describes how an organization creates value for its customers, how it delivers value through its operations and channels, and how it captures value through its own revenue and cost structures. So we can see how it works both ways. Simply put, these are the questions that the BMC answers. It answers what are the key activities of the organization? What does the organization do? So am I a Volkswagen? My key activity is to assemble car parts, create a car. That's what I do, right? So what does the organization do, right? The second question it answers is, who does the organization serve, right? Who does it serve? Who are its customers? The third question it answers is, what does an organization offer to who it serves? So what are the offerings it gives? What are the values it gives to who it serves? So if you are saying an organization is serving me, for example, I should be able to say from my point of view that this is what it does for me. It takes away these pains and it's giving me these gains. So what are the values it's giving to the customer, right? How does the organization relate with those it serves? In other words, how does it relate with the customer? How does the organization deliver her offerings? What resources does the organization depend on? What partners does the organization depend on? How does the organization make its money? And what does the organization spend its money? These are the core questions that a business model Canva will give you, but answer to you as a BA, right? So we'll carry on here. This is a typical example of what the business model Canva looks like. And it has 9 building blocks. Has anyone seen it before? I mean, in our BABOK guide, have you seen this framework before? Or have you even gone as far as going through the building blocks? All right, people, let's talk. Have you seen the BMC before and the different building blocks underneath it? Okay. So
Yes.
this is the okay. So this is so you know that it has 9 building blocks, right? The first building block is key partners. The second one is key activities. The third, key resources. The fourth, value propositions. The fifth, customer relationships. The sixth, channels. The seventh, customer segments. The eighth, cost structure. And the ninth and the last is the revenue streams. Now, very quickly, I want us to do something. I want us to link each of the elements we have mentioned under the BMC to these questions that I say it answers, the BMC answers to the BA. What are the key activities of the organization? Can you tell me what element here answers to that? What are the key activities of the organization? Can anyone just tell me under what element will that be captured?
Number 2.
Number
Element
2, fantastic.
2.
Thank you very much. Fantastic. I like that. Question 2, it says, who does the organization serve? So again, I'll take you back to the element. Who does the organization serve?
Customer segment.
Customer segment.
Fantastic. Number 7, fantastic. Number 3, what does an organization offer who it serves? What does the organization offer who it serves? What number does that fall under?
Number 4.
Value. 4.
Fantastic, guys. Fantastic. Okay, so number 4 here, how does the organization relate with those it serves? How does it relate with those it serves?
Five.
Channels.
Number 5.
Number 5.
Customer relationship.
Fantastic. It's actually customer relationship. How does it relate with them? It actually falls under customer relationship. Number 6, what resources does the organization depend on? What resources does the organization depend on?
Number 3.
Key resources.
Fantastic. Number 7, it says, what partners does the organization depend on? What partners do they depend on?
Number 1.
Key partners. Number 1.
Guys are best, really. Number 8, it says, how does the organization make its money? How does the organization
Number
make
9. Revenue stream.
Revenue streams.
Fantastic. And number 9, it says somebody is using devices. Can you please mute one? I can hear myself. Thank you very much. And number 9 says, how does the organization spend its money?
Cost structure.
Fantastic. That's cost structure. Thank you very much. We have done that so beautifully. Now, before we go ahead, there are certain things that Babok, right, describes the business model Canva as, or can be used for. The first 2 things that Babok says in the Babok version 3 is that the business model Canva can be used as a diagnostic tool, and it can be used as a planning tool. Those are the first 2 things it does. Now, I want us to take ourselves out of this picture here. When you hear the word diagnostic, what do you think of? What profession do you think of?
Medicine.
Fantastic. We think of medicine, right?
The medical field.
Fantastic. That's what we think of right away. And that's exactly how the BMC works, even for a BA in business analysis. It's a diagnostic tool that you can use to diagnose a particular business, right? An enterprise. You can actually use to see how it is working, what model it is on, right? And see if it is aligning with the model it actually says it is running on. That's what you do. When you go to the hospital today, and please correct me if I'm wrong, the first thing they say you should do is to go and take your vitals. I don't know of any doctor you'll go and see and you go right away to the doctor and he just starts saying, oh, yes, you have a typhoid. Oh, yes, I'm going to give you Ampiclox and all of that and that. Am I right? The first thing you would do would be to run your vitals. Let's see what the BP is saying. Let's see what the temperature is saying. Let's see what, blood sugar is saying. Am I right or wrong?
That's correct.
Absolutely. And that is exactly the same way I want us to see the BMC today. What the BMC does, first and foremost, is to diagnose a business. It's seeing how the business is running. It's seeing where the problems are, or if there are no problems. It's seeing where the changes have occurred, deviating you from the business model that you were on. So today, without wasting time, we're going to go to this, our very familiar business case study that we used the last time, this very fancy quick service restaurant of ours. And I'm sure we remember, for those who were in the last study group, remember the business context. It says a mid-sized quick service restaurant is experiencing a sustained decline in sales and customer satisfaction, despite consistent foot traffic and strong brand visibility within its location. The restaurant is facing operational inefficiencies and poor performance visibility, leading to a loss of revenue, customer dissatisfaction, and reduced repeat patronage. This is the context of the business. They brought you in as a BA. Now we are working this journey together. Let me see somebody's name here. They brought you in as a BA. Okay, let me use Abigail. You have been brought into this business as a BA, and they said this is their context. This is what they are facing. What will be your first step? What will be the first thing? And not just Abigail. I want everyone, as much as you can talk where you are, to just give it a shot. What will be your first step here? What will be the first way to look into it?
Elicit requirements.
Elicit requirements. Okay. How would you be eliciting requirements? I want to be very factual. This is a restaurant. You want to elicit requirements. I want you to just tell me, what would you do? Well, will you just go there and say, okay, somebody should give me requirements. What do you want? What requirements go are you eliciting for? Do you understand what I'm saying? So
you need to first of all understand the problem. So what's the problem they are facing? From understanding the problem, you now know the kind of requirement to elicit.
Fantastic. I like that as well. Fantastic. Any other person wants to give it a shot?
We have to find out an end-to-end process of running the business, then find out what the problem is, and then start asking questions that revolve around the problem.
Fantastic, fantastic. All the answers given are absolutely correct. They're absolutely correct. However, they should come in certain orders. I will tell you today, the very first thing you must do as a BA when you are given when you're called on onboarded to any particular project, the first thing you must do is understand their as-is processes. What are you doing now? How are you doing it now? And you have to understand it from every aspect of the business. What are you doing from the moment you open to the moment you close? I'm now going back to the restaurant case study. How do you do it? Let's say they sweep the floor. Let's say they wash the floor. Let's say some cook start cooking. What time did all of it is part of it. It's part of what you must do. So we will elicit requirements, but we don't start with elicitation of requirements, because when you do, you start to hear what the customer wants you to hear or what they think they understand of the business. But the business itself speaks. And that's one thing I want you to take home today. The business itself speaks. Don't be in a hurry to go and meet the stakeholder. Everybody, and that's very true. I can tell you a story today of how my day went. And by the time you tell you're the second person you meet, like, did you know that Opez Day? Did you know she met it? Did you know she saw the president? By the time the fourth person hears the story, I can guarantee you that at least 20% of what has been retold has been taken out of the story or fabricated in some way, knowingly or unknowingly. And that's why we must be careful as well with just thinking that, stakeholders, elicit requirements, let's move. All right? We first of all understand the process. Then we understand the pain points. And I agree with, I think what Uluti that said that when where the problem is. Then we understand the pain points. Then we go ahead to understand the reactions we are getting to the pain points. What is it resulting in? So without wasting more time, we're going to take the BMC we're going to use this as a tool, as a technique today to carry out all of this. All right. And let's see how we do it. And let's see how, we are not so much getting the requirements from the stakeholder. I want you to look at it because we'll discuss that towards the end. So we've seen the business context, and we want to start with element one. So the BA now, who is Abigail, has built out her framework, and she has 9 building blocks on there. The first of which is the customer segment. So she goes into the restaurant one day, and then she decides, okay, guys, I'm here, and she starts making findings. Note here that it didn't say the BA asked that what were the requirements you need, because they don't even know the solution they want. They don't know the mitigation that will help them overcome this challenge. So the BA doesn't go there asking, what are the requirements you need? What the BA would ask, taking one building block at a time, is first, I want to understand who your major customers are for this business. So the BA will find out that their major customers are students, office workers, family, online delivery customers. They will have people that will tell them, madam, we even have online delivery workers. Even if families come here Sunday, they will come and eat, they do. So she gathers all those information, and then she goes back and she says, you know what? I want to sit with you for the whole day, or please give me data. If it is a restaurant that is actually giving data. But she said, give me data of your past 1 week. Maybe they have some daily sales analysis or monthly sales analysis. And said, can I have that? Can I just take it back with me? Or she might sit in and say, let me see how the day goes. And upon doing that, shadowing them for that long or examining the data she's received, she can actually draw out some, facts. Fact number 1 is that delivery customers are going faster than walk-in customers. So she's saying that customers are not really coming in. But she's also saying that they are delivery customers. And maybe at the end of the day, she's saying that delivery customers are like twice as much as a working customer. And she just asks the supervisor or the manager and says, oh, is this usual? I mean, do you have more delivery customers? And they said that we just started observing this like last month. That's a fact. We've gotten that. So she does that over time, maybe for a week, observes like that. And she sees that, okay, it's a fact, it's a pattern, it's a trend. Their delivery customers are now going more than their working customers. She can form an insight, and she records that. The business direction is changing. So remember from the description of the business context, right? The business was thinking that maybe it was because of delay of food, maybe food was not coming out as early as or something. That's why low sales was coming. We are beginning to pull our insight together. So now she can see that the business direction is what? It's changing. She moves to a second building block, the business propositions. Again, she can ask the question, why do customers choose you guys? I mean, I can see Chicken Republic here, I can see TSC, I can see KFC, Nando's, she has so many options. So why are they choosing you guys? And they answer her, oh, we have fast meals. Oh, our food is very affordable. As a matter of fact, we're the most affordable in this vicinity. It's convenient. And she says, okay. She takes it down and she decides, okay, I am going to now run an examination. For everything they tell you, you must be able to validate it. Don't take, like I said, don't take word of mouth and fly with it. Validate it. Okay, let's see. And then from her observation, she finds out that delivery takes too long. Delivery in this case is not walking on. Delivery. So I am here in my house and I have ordered for a nice meal from this restaurant with the excitement that it will get here just in time. And it's taking so long. And by the time it gets here, the food is cold. Right? Where could she have gotten this kind of feedback? From customer reviews. So perhaps they have a WhatsApp group, perhaps they have, some app, however sophisticated, that customers drop their review, or just a Google, that customers drop their review on. And she can see that, a lot of your customers, right? These things also run statistics. A lot of your customers say that your food gets there really late. Again, another insight can be drawn. The current value proposition is weakening, meaning that the business promises fast, convenient food, but on the contrary, operations are no longer supporting that promise, right? So that's another insight. There may be many insights. I'm just trying to move fast. So we're just, picking insights that can be dropped from each block. The third block is the channel. Now, the BA also examines how does your customer receive the service or the product that you offer? And they say, we have people that come inside. Some people, they just call us, so they'll just call us. They have our number, our number is on our bag, maybe on the carrier bag that they used to sell the food. Or they just call us. So some people visit our website. And, oh, yes, we're actually on Child Deck as well. So Child Deck also helps us to deliver our products to them. All right? But when the BA does his examination, he finds that most of the orders now come through delivery apps. But he's finding that instead of that, right, by the time he looks at the channels, it's seeing that, they mentioned physical stores, mobile app. It's saying that physical store is the least on the chart. From the business and from the sales analysis, from the shadowing, her shadowing, she can see that physical store is actually the least channel functioning. The others are functioning much, much more. But on the contrary, what she sees is a restaurant that is, the management has spent so much investing on fancy tables and fancy chairs and air conditioning, fantastic TV. They have all sorts. They have DSTV. They even have, what's this other one? All sorts, to ensure that their customers can watch and enjoy themselves, music systems. They spend so much for in-dining operations. Unfortunately, customers are not coming in to do that. So an insight can be drawn. A strategic mismatch. Management is facing the wrong channels, meaning that the business is spending money in the wrong area. You've done that with that particular block. You can move to the next one. Key activity. Abigail asks again, what are the key activities that you do? I mean, what do you do here? Is it that you people also sell, drinking water? Do you produce drinking water? Do you produce juice? What do you do? Do you cater? And they say, no, we don't cater, or we don't. All we do is we just cook, we package, we deliver through our delivery channels, and manage our inventory. All right. But after thorough examination, Abigail can say that the kitchen processes were designed much more for working customers. They are not optimized for delivery demands, meaning they don't have the right devices. You say you're on Child Deck, but you don't have a device, a tab, to be able to follow through. You don't have packaging materials to be able to make sure that packaging is done, instantly. Once they finish producing the food, they package it. You can follow up on the delivery, on the tab. You can know where it is per time. Is it still on the way? Has it gotten there? You don't have... what else do we need for deliveries, for packaging? You have poor connections, even to dispatch riders. So probably because you don't even have the app, maybe you still call them on the phone, and dispatch rider, Emeka is saying, I just come out now, or you have to wait for me to come back, and you have to wait, And this explains why the deliveries are delayed. It explains why the customer's food is cold upon arrival. So you can draw that insight as well. We have our customer relationships. That's another block. The business analyst asks some questions around. How do your customers interact with the restaurant? How do the complaints they have dropped that you have seen on the website, that you have seen on the application or the delivery applications or on Google, all those feedback, how do you handle them as a business? Do your customers return after their first purchase? How does the business maintain loyalties? Now, these questions can be inexhaustive. I mean, as you are led, you can ask as many questions until you can draw meaningful insights. These are just examples in this case scenario. And while asking all these questions and also reviewing everything around the business, Abigail discovers that customers only interact physically in store. That's the most, effective interaction. So you can imagine I bought a plate of food and I go home and found that it was slimy. And there's no other place I can actually give feedback. I have to wait till the next time I pass in front of that restaurant. Sometimes I might not be able to come back immediately, obviously. Maybe it's late before I go home. And then I can't make that feedback until the next time. I just randomly remember, hey, this restaurant, I bought spaghetti there that day and it was spoiled. So that's the most effective so far. Abigail notices that complaints on social media is ignored. No loyalty, no reward system exists. In terms of relationship, delivery customers rarely return. There is no customer feedback tracking. So how are you saying you are relating with your customers if all of this Abigail cannot see in your day-to-day transactions? Again, what is the insight? The restaurant is focusing only on working customer relationships, zero customer retention. Because if there's no relationship, there's no retention. If you can't relate with your customers properly, you can't retain them. All right. Now, the next block, key partnerships. Questions are asked around. What are the major partners you have? What partners are critical to operation? Which partnerships are failing? Are partnerships aligned to your strategies, the way you are doing your business? And we find out that actually the supplier actually delays ingredient. Today she will come with this and say, oh, this one she will bring it tomorrow. Bring it tomorrow. Maybe she comes late in the evening and says, oh, she was stuck in traffic. Or, oh, I wasn't able to get that. The price had fluctuated. I couldn't even. There are delays. Delivery partners, like I said before, a maker said, oh, I've already taken an order. Oh, until you wait, when I come back, I'll come and pick it. They arrive late. Packaging vendors are inconsistent. There is no service level agreement existing with your logistic partners. Again, you can draw your insight. Do you understand? Can I ask at this point, what insight will anybody draw on that key partnerships? What insight would you draw with all of what we found, what Abigail found from her findings? Anyone at all? What insight will you draw on the key partnerships for all you have heard? So the insight will be that the business model is too reliant, okay? It's too reliant on external partners. And that is actually weakening their operational performance. They're too reliant. Key resources, the same way. The BA asks question, what assets are most critical? What resources are under pressure? What resources are missing? What resources create competitive advantage for you? By the time she goes around the restaurant herself, she can find that the kitchen equipment are obsolete. They're outdated. She finds that the POS system crashes during peak hours. Staff turnover is high. Delivery bikes are not enough, or maybe they're even having problems. Mechanic today, no mechanic tomorrow. Inventory tracking is manual. All right. So on this, you would also draw insights. The resources that are currently on ground can no longer, or they are barely supporting the growing business. It's not working. And then there's cost structure in the same way, right? Again, there's revenue streams. What would you say BA would ask for revenue streams? Where does the revenue come from? Which revenue stream is growing the most? Which one is declining? Are there untapped opportunities around you? Which I'm sure there'll be. And then you will find, obviously, we talked about subscriptions for digital appliances. They don't have any. Customers spend more during promotions, right? And that is for them a growing revenue stream. When there are promotions, a few times that they say, oh, buy one, get one free, our customers are so happy. They buy. Corporate catering is underutilized. You know, when they were saying, what are your activities? They didn't mention corporate catering. However, maybe this is a restaurant that is surrounded by banks or organizations or factories. I mean, and you're thinking, guys, this is market now. It's underutilized. Delivery revenue is increasing because, again, we found out that online purchases are much more. Online customers are much more than walking. And of course, like we can see, the walk-in sales are declining. So the current revenue model is not supporting the strategy, right? Despite the changing business behaviors. Okay, now let's look at BMC as, no, skip something. Okay, good. Now, all we have done here, remember that we said Babok mentioned that BMC can be a diagnostic tool and it can be a planning tool. What has Abigail done here? All we have done under these 9 building blocks, what has she done? What has she used her BMC to do?
Diagnosis.
Fantastic.
The root cause of the problem.
Fantastic. The root cause of the problem. So Abigail has done very well to diagnose where all the problems are coming from across all 9 building blocks. She has a clear picture now. And it is now on this foundation that she can now start building her plans. All right. It is now on this foundation that she can now start building her plans. So what are we doing? We are going on to now see how BMC comes in as a planning tool. Now the BA understands the problem. The next question becomes, what should the business change? Where should the changes come from? What aspects should it change? The Canva now becomes a planning tool, right? And the PA can use it to design future improvements. These are places where you can now start saying, okay, I have all my diagnoses. I can see their vitals. Let's now plan. Where are we going to start work from? Now, based on all that you have drawn from your diagnosis, you can now pull up a proper improvement plan. Look at what we have here, for example. For BMC elements, we chose randomly, I chose 6 channels, 6 building blocks. 1 channels, key activities, key partners, customer relationships, revenue streams, and cost structure. And I said other channels, let's improve our mobile ordering. How can we work on that? So we sit down, we start taking requirements. Okay, should we go beyond child egg? What about we get a Glovo? Oh no, should we also have, this place is such a closely knit community. They drop their phone number, we check. Okay, should we also have like a WhatsApp community where we can just drop, messages, inspirations, things to just make people, should we work on our social media? Then you start opening up for discussion. We can flesh this out a lot more. But you see, what it's done for you is it's giving you a very good directory as to how you want to go about it. You've written everything down as plans, and on each and every one, you can flesh it out as much as you want. Look at the key activities. It's saying introduce dedicated delivery kitchen lines. So what do you need for maybe sealers, something to seal your bags? It's going to be delivered. You don't want to leave the bags opened, or it takes much time to start sellotaping it around or cling filming it around to make sure that it's tamper-proof. Can we just get a sealer that we can do under 20 seconds? It's going to seal the whole bag. Do you understand? Can we get packaging materials that are delivery friendly? All right. Can we get apps? Can we get devices to support these apps? So we don't need to be saying, oh, we have to go to manager's office to buy his manager's phone or his desktop to trace one app that has come. We can actually just add these apps. I go to restaurants now and I see apps on their wrist, the guys that attend to you, I think they're called the service assistants or something. You see this cute apps, it's quite big, like a mobile phone size on their wrist, and they're just tapping away, So we might need to introduce dedicated delivery kitchen lines. Key partners, partner with dispatch and logistics company. We need to get this thing done. You can't be calling that one person that will deliver for you, deliver for Chicken Republic, deliver for Mama Tony, and then you have to get, companies that actually specialize in doing this thing. Customer relationship, add loyalty rewards. Can we add loyalty rewards to our apps? That's just one. There are many others. So like I said, you can flesh it up, or you have a plan. So this is the initiative I'm bringing. Then we can start taking requirements. We think we should do this. Then you can start making requirements. It is much more realistic, and much more than anything, it is clearer. It is clearer. When you learn to the midst of a problem, it's very hard to make pathway. So one thing that makes this tool very powerful is it actually charts out very clear paths to diagnose the problem and as well to plan, on how to turn the problem around. All right. So, right. Okay. So BMC, this is another use of the BMC as thought by the Babok guide. It says it helps to understand dependencies and priorities. Now we've said everything. What do we think a dependency is? When I say I want to understand dependencies in enterprise, what do we think a dependency is? Can anybody just help me out? What do we think a dependency is? Because we want to try and
Yes, so I feel it's more like a trace element, like something has to happen before something else falls on it, like depends on it. So I don't know the English to use.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Okay. Any other person wants to give it a try? Dependency, what do you think it is? Okay. All right. So like Tokia said, that's exactly what it is. A dependency, right, or dependencies is a network of how one unit in a system impacts the other, or how one unit in the system depends on the other to survive. Do we understand? So that's what the dependency, it's a relationship, literally, like how the relationship impacts one another. Okay. And that's what we want to look into here. Babok is saying that it also helps to understand dependencies and priorities. So let's take, for example, management, after seeing this report from Abigail, says, okay, we've seen your plan, we've seen your diagnosis. We want to start doing faster deliveries now. What do we have to do? How do we go about it? This is what we want to do. We are turning around this ship. And then you say, okay, I want to run the dependencies and priorities table. Let's see how we can actually see. Now, all the departments in that organization, you have to run them out and see how they impact one another in fulfilling this singular goal, this singular objective, which is faster deliveries. So operations have to ensure that the food preparation now is a lot faster. IT has to ensure better delivery tracking systems and applications. Procurement have to make sure that there is provision for more packaging materials. HR has to employ more dispatch riders. Finance has to increase logistics, right? And last but not the least, marketing. Sorry, this thing is, okay. Sorry. Marketing also has to ensure that they do their bit as well, okay? Now, once all of this is done, what you realize here is that if you take out any one of this impact, it would, how will I say that now? It would take away from achieving the objective. Am I right or wrong? If you take out anything, if you say, we can still manage the dispatch rider, the food will be prepared on time, packaged on time, right? But there will be no dispatch rider to still carry it. If you take away better delivery tracking system, okay, Emeka has been replaced by better delivery, but you can't track him. So you don't know if this delivery guy had just parked somewhere and is just doing his thing, or his bike has broken down. So if you run any one of these departments in silos, it will not give you or yield the business objective you're looking for. All right. And that is how BMC helps to understand the dependencies and the priorities within the business. The fourth, and not the least, is that it demonstrates alignment to the enterprise strategy. So now management they've seen the lights. They know better. They've seen where their problems are. All these years, we've just been doing nonsense. Can you imagine? Okay, now our strategy for 2026 is that we want to become the #1 digital fast food brand in Lagos. Now they've understood that it's not working anymore. Working is old, long ago. We want to become the #1 digital fast food brand. Now, to attain this, like I said earlier, with dependencies and priorities, every department within the organization must align to that strategy. That means the processes within each and every one of those departments must align. The objective must be that we are aiming to be the #1 digital fast food brand. All right. And the BA can use the BMC to visually show this and how it can be done. So for IT, we build mobile ordering platforms. You can actually, and for this, in fact, this is where the BA can now actually come in and start thinking clearly that, okay, this solution we want to build for you, this is what we're going to do. We'll build the solution. It's an ordering platform. But one of the things we have to work on is to ensure that delivery is much faster. We'll help marketers and the marketing department to drive the application adoption campaigns. You can now drop a clearer picture of your mitigation plan. What do you want to give to them? With this, you can now actually draw a future state process flow. Do you agree with me? Do you understand what I'm saying? And it is not going to be ambiguous. It's not going to be you just guessing. You know what exactly you are working at. You can draw out a very clear process flow for there to be. All right. Earlier this morning, in our daily scrum, a newly joined product manager was discussing about a product that was given to her to run. It's a new product, a new initiative. And for me, it was really quite complex. It was something around waste management and the like of it. It was quite complex. And, she was being drilled as to how do you want to go about it. And for the first 15 minutes, she was just going on. So what she wants to do, they'll just make sure that, it's clearer. The solution they're going to give the guy is clearer. The solution that she just went going on. And at some point, I had to raise up my hand, as did some of us on the call. And we said, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't. It was so unclear. It didn't even make sense at all. Unfortunately, in this case, it is a new initiative. It's a green one. It's not such as you can say that, oh, we've had such, go and copy this or go and copy that. It's a very new initiative. So even the client that has bought the initiative doesn't even know what they want. She just knows that she wants to help a particular organization, be more transparent, have a more standardized process flow, be more accountable. But how to go about it, they don't know. I mean, I remember somebody asked a question that, okay, how do you even uniquely identify the users that will be using, this solution? And she was like, yeah, maybe we'll be using their house number. And then another person raised the question, yeah, but house numbers, how so often do they change numbering in Lagos? Today, you come here, in fact, in some houses, you go there, you say old number, new number. Which one do you want to? So there were so many questions. And the reason why that was because she hadn't taken the time to understudy how the process is presently being run and how they fall under these 9 different building blocks, how she can diagnose the problem, right? Then build a proper user journey before she starts translating the requirements to build the solution she wants to. And that's exactly what the BMC does. All right. So here it says, how does the business analyst use the BMC? And this is just a few. You can use it to diagnose, like I said, current business models and expose the weak links. I'm sure you saw that in the case study. If you didn't, if anybody didn't, please raise up your hand so we can quickly just tell. You can use it to facilitate workshops with business, product, operations, finance, technology, customer-facing team. Absolutely. Because you want to now explain to them the alignments, how each and every one, even the cashier, how you align to the organizational goal or initiative. When you are facilitating these workshops, you can actually use the BMC and all the insights that you've drawn to make clear explanation, clear. You can identify assumptions that must be validated before investment, right? You can identify, assuming that we invest into online digital sales, we should be able to turn around your, turnover, your revenue, by 40%. You can actually identify those assumptions clearly now. You can map initiatives to this house. You can map every one initiative to the house. So by doing that, you're now identifying where to spend more effort, and you can explain it to them clearly because you have facts on your hand. You can reveal dependencies between customer value, operations, technology, cost and revenue, and you can certainly clarify upstream requirements. That's ultimately. You can clarify your requirements before jumping into features of the system you're about to design. All right. Okay, why is the BMC a powerful tool for business analysts? It simplifies complex business discussions with management rather. You can imagine before Abigail started all of this with the BMC as her technique, you can imagine going to speak with management. They've told you everything. And you said, okay, sir, I'll be there next week. We'll come and discuss it. What do you even want to start to say? Where do you want to even land the discussion on? Where do you want to ignite it from? You can't, because it's just a big, complex mass, big, complex, ugly mass. And you can, and no two problems are alike. So because you've done it before for KFC and you were able to get away just designing the solution for them, doesn't mean you will come to these guys and design the same thing. So how do you even begin to discuss this with management team? You can't. But with the BMC, you can simplify it. And even by simplifying it, you help them as well to understand it, because you can now imagine Abigail just putting all of this thing in reports. She puts her insights, she put her findings, she put her plans in reports, she put the strategic alignments, the objectives, she puts everything in a deck of slides, and she just presents it to the management. Of course, they'll be so happy because clarity has been brought in a jiffy. All right. The second is that it helps diagnose business problems clearly. Thirdly, it improves strategic alignment. You can now, strategy simply means how are we going to attain XYZ over this period of time. So you can now set a goal and have a strategic alignment, a strategic pathway to meet up with that goal. You can improve that clearly. In fact, you can measurably do that. By year one, we should be able to, or by month one, we should be able to do this. By month two, it can be measured, this impact. Support strategic planning and business transformation. There's a lot of this going on around business transformation. This is one powerful tool that you can use to get that done and enable faster analysis and decision making. So in a wrap, the business model Canva helps business analysts to connect strategy to execution by showing how customers, operations, technology, finance, partnerships, and revenue all work together as one business system. They are not fragmented. They are not running in silos. They are all dependent on one another to achieve that objective under one business system. All right, so I hope I've been able to make this much clearer to everyone today. Do we have questions? Questions? Hello?
I think I have a question.
Please.
But then you have actually given us a really good insight on the business Canva model. But I'd like to understand, if you're starting, or let's say you're working on a project, a new initiative, and how do you use this model for something that is totally new, that does not already exist?
Okay, so in that case, what you're doing is still to fit the business model of this new initiative into this Canva. In that case, you will be working hand in hand with the stakeholder. You will not be doing a lot of what Abigail did to go and shadow or to go and sit in the business to see things herself. But you'll be working hand in hand with the stakeholder. What's the model you have, right? You can ask the stakeholder, what is the segment of customers you want to have? Are you targeting just mothers? Or is it just nursing mothers? It's about driving it down to as granular as you can. Don't leave it ambiguous. Don't leave it vague. It's about using those 9 building blocks to drive it right down. This initiative, Ma or Sir, how will it make money for you? How will it translate to money? We've seen some initiatives that when we sat down and did them, we said, this thing cannot fly. It doesn't make money for you. It doesn't add up. It won't make money for you in any way. All right, who will you be partnering with to bring it to pass? Oh, I'll be partnering with some foreign guys, some Chinese guys from... Now, when you do that, there are more questions that come in. At what cost? Right? What's the cost structure to attain it? That's how you can begin to draw insights, one block after the other, one block after the other. It can be used for existing initiatives and it can be used for brand new initiatives. But the whole idea is to ensure that you drill it down. You know, I think there's a technique they have, the 5 whys. You keep asking why. Sorry, I'm late. Why? It was raining. Or something I'm late. Why? I got stuck in Ikeja. Why? It was raining. Or my car broke down. Why? I ran out of fuel. I mean, keep drilling down. And that would help you to be able to fill up each and every one of those blocks. Now, once you do that, believe me, it's like a painting. Once all the paintings have been done, you can clearly link the dots.
Thank you so much. Thank you. You actually answered my question. Thank you.
Okay. Any other question?
Thank you for this session. And you really explained it very well. But then I want to ask with this, because where I actually learned about business analytics, I heard we have to start with business architecture. But it seems with only this BMC, we can actually have an end-to-end process. Does it mean all those risk analysis, stakeholder management, and all those, they are not that necessary in handling a project?
No, absolutely not. No, it doesn't mean that. However, this is a good foundation to now start drawing up your risk analysis. Now, with you having drawn up all this, you can actually draw up a risk register now and start saying that. Now, project is different, but in this instance, for this particular business model, you can actually start drawing out risk. You can start saying things like, if change is not carried out, or if some intervention is not carried out by XYZ, you run the risk of losing 40% of your sales. If attention is not given to customer feedback and responses, you run the risk of not having customers return after their first try with you. So in relation to this business model, yes, you can use it, but what it is that it's actually a foundation. Like we've shown ourselves, we've been able to use it as a diagnostic tool. We've made to use it as a planning tool, as a strategy alignment tool, as a what was the fourth one? We were able to use it for all four of them. But even for the diagnostic tool, you can actually diagnose risk around the business. Do you understand me? So it's not like project where you say, oh, we run the risk of the developer is not doing this or there's a blocker. No, it's concerning a business model. Do you understand the difference between the two? Hello? Hello?
Oh, yes, I do. So that means we can also incorporate the risk aspects into this when doing it.
Absolutely. It can diagnose that, even that for you. It can diagnose even the risk for you. Absolutely. It can do so much more. In the interdependencies, I can identify risk there. That if XYZ department fails to, there's a risk of. Do you understand? There's so many risks you can actually diagnose from this. Any other questions? Any other questions?
Yes, Opeoluwa, thank you very much for the presentation. That was a brilliant one. Yeah, I want to ask from the lady, just the continuation, when you talk about risk, for every business, there's a risk element. Now, you're now building blocks, yes, from this business model you analyzed. So where will the risk, yes, the risk element, come in? How will you analyze it? Yes, on this business model.
It's
for
not
this
going to come
particular
in
business.
under a. Thank you for that question, Christine. It's not going to come in under one particular business block. It's not like there's a business block that says risk, or it's going to come in under all 9 of them. All right. So as you are examining each of the processes using each of the business blocks, there is also, you can actually draw up a risk list. You can actually draw up a risk register as well, saying that, for example, let me go back to right. For example, it was talking about the key resources. and it was saying that they had obsolete kitchen equipment. I think we had that, right? That most of the kitchen equipment that were used were outdated and obsolete. You can actually draw out risk even from that. That, there is even the risk of gas leakages, there's the risk of contamination with your freezers. You notice that the freezers are old and, there's so many risks that you can draw out. Health risk, just so many risks, but it doesn't fall clearly under one. Just like you cannot diagnose that business under one block. You need everything. It's a picture where you see everything and you can be able to say, for this particular business, so this is a risk. If we don't mitigate by ensuring that this feature is changed or is introduced in the solution we're bringing, we run the risk of being banned by, maybe health officers. There are so many ways you can draw the risk, but it is all encompassing under all 9 of the building. I don't know if I'm clear.
Loud and clear.
Absolutely. So did I answer the question?
Yes, you did.
Thank you.
You saw the 9 blocks. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. If there are no other questions, I will hand over to Mr. President. Hello? Hello?
Hello. Okay. Thank you so much. That was a brilliant delivery. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking our time. I know your time is so precious, always busy. We appreciate you giving back to the community. So we'll still look for one more topic to give to you.
Thank you very much, everyone. It is my greatest pleasure. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right.
Bye from me.
All right. So thank you so much, everyone, for participating. It's always interesting when we get this engaged. We ask questions, and then the facilitator is able to throw more light into the naughty areas. So we're going to be doing this. I'm not sure next week, but I think this time around it's going to be the first week in June. All right. Thank you so much. Please stay tuned, and then we'll let you know what the itinerary for next month is going to look like. Thank you so much once again. And here is me saying good night. Bye.